I think that there are a lot of interesting and unique animes that exist out there, but one that I feel really stands out and doesn't get the appreciation it deserves is the original Fooly Cooly. While there are other iterations of Fooly Cooly, none of them match up to the original, even with the added advantage of newer animation. The other releases of Fooly Cooly failed to live up to the original series and feel a lot hollower, corporatized, and emptier than what the original anime offered. I just recently got around to finishing Fooly Cooly, and I've got to say I don't think I've been more confused but also satisfied while watching an anime than I have with Fooly Cooly, as it's the kind of story that takes its time to set the stage and then everything starts falling apart. It's also an anime that doesn't really get explained too much, which is an aspect I can appreciate to an extent. Fooly Cooly for myself personally has to be one of the most experimental and creatively expressive animes I've ever watched. Especially when you look at the current landscape of anime and how generic and corporatized it is, the original Fooly Cooly stands out even more, as an anime that is uncompromising in its style in an era that was much more accepting of the new and different. The anime tries many things that are commonly used in today's landscape, like its use of self-aware moments with how Naoto's father references the anime's manga skit they do throughout the series, or how the anime makes references to other media, like when one of the characters says "the last piece," the Pirate King, which is too coincidental not to be a One Piece reference. In many ways, Fooly Cooly is a pioneer introducing these aspects into anime, which have now become commonplace for a lot of comedy animes. An aspect I really liked about Fooly Cooly was probably its aesthetic. There are plenty of moments when the anime switches between low and high quality character art, but when the anime is at its best, it looks gorgeous, especially considering this anime came out well over 2 decades ago. It's extremely impressive how good it looks at times, and is one of those early 2000s animes that aged extremely well for its time, even better than animes that came out years afterwards. The art and animation also do a good job clearly expressing characters' emotions, even if it is heavily exaggerated at times. It provides a clear look at how the characters are feeling. The characters themselves are also just extremely over the top because of the animation. The animation is one of the most unique aspects about Fooly Cooly. I have never quite seen an anime like Fooly Cooly before. The anime is entirely done digitally, which is impressive, and its use of blending not only 2D and 3D animation together, but also how it blends manga into the anime is incredible. It really feels like there is a lot of passion put into this anime. It's bursting with creativity. There are so many animation styles attempted in Fooly Cooly that I have never seen used before that help to make Fooly Cooly one of the most refreshing anime in the industry. The animation is also leagues above any other anime at the time. There are so many impressive and highly detailed scenes that are years ahead of any other anime, which is helped by the anime's approach to its art style, as the art style ties hand in hand with the animation, as its art style allows for the animation to be as expressive as it is without outright breaking the confines of the character's design, especially when switching between different animation styles, as it helps to tie the whole anime together. The art style of Fooly Cooly is so refreshingly different, and I love how effectively utilized over the course of the anime it is used. I would like to preface that I did watch this in dub, and despite the bad reputation that anime dubs have, this one was certainly interesting. I wouldn't outright call it bad, but more of an acquired taste. The voice acting perfectly reflects what's happening in the anime, even if they do sometimes go way over the top. But more than anything, when it came to the voice acting, even if there were some rough edges, the dubcast did a perfect job portraying the characters, especially with the emotional moments throughout the anime. They did a good job making the characters their own, and it makes them feel like people at times rather than just anime characters, which made the dub experience entirely worthwhile, as it felt as if the dubcast definitely cared about their role and perfectly fit with the experimental approach that the anime was going for. But my one and only problem that I have with Fooly Cooly is its story, and the way it portrays itself throughout the anime. I do believe that the anime wanted to leave a lot up in the air, as it doesn't really answer many of the questions that the anime presents, like what in the hell does Fooly Cooly even mean? The characters even mocked the audience in the last episode by posing a question on whether or not what Fooly Cooly is would be answered. But a lot of the larger than life aspects to the story that happen, with the stuff about alternate dimensions, aliens, secret powers, all really seemed a bit out of place, even if it does help to explain where Naoto's powers come from. And while it does add more depth to the world of Fooly Cooly, It also distracts from the main focus of what Fooly Cooly is all about, whether that's intentionally or not. When looking into Fooly Cooly, if you look beyond the surface level of what the anime offers with its flashy animation and insane action, you'll find something special, because from what I gathered about Fooly Cooly, it really seems to be a simpler story at heart, mainly about the experiences of growing up and how valuable your young adolescent years are. As Naota at the start of the anime dreams of growing up and leaving his town. Desperate to be an adult, he starts missing out on important experiences as he acts more and more like an adult. Like how he constantly drinks the same drink, refusing to try anything else, and often appears detracted from those around him, acting more cynically than people typically his age. And what I like about Naota is how he changes as a character over time, and how the anime shows it throughout the anime instead of just telling us. As after meeting Haruko, his views on life start to change. He becomes more accepting of trying new things, and slowly starts to build his relationships with other characters, which you can see in the way he tries a new drink that he's never had before. A small but important scene that shows he is more open to taking risks and begins to start enjoying his youth. Haruko can also be viewed as his own inner thoughts as well, as she constantly seems to say what he's thinking and encourages him to try new things and change the person he is currently, which I think was an extremely clever way to use the character. The anime has a lot of stuff to distract from this, but it's clear while watching that Haruko is constantly encouraging Naota to try new things and experience life while he can still afford to, which you can see more and more as the anime goes on, like how he becomes more irrational and confrontational, which is something more commonly associated with children. There are also other alternate forces that encourage him to return to how he is, because society likes someone who is more mature rather than someone acting their age, which I think speaks on how as a society we expect even the youth to act well beyond their years, giving them a standard to achieve that restricts who they are and what they can do, not giving them a chance to find things out for themselves and learn from their own mistakes. I feel like the anime does a lot of blurring the line between fiction and reality, where you're not sure if what you're seeing is strictly real or all Naota's imagination. Like when Naota and his dad get into a gunfight over Haruko, or when his father apparently dies and is replaced by a fake him, only to come back to life. Or even the whole alien invasion could have merely been a result of an overly creative imagination. A lot of the things that happen in this anime don't feel real and are heavily exaggerated, but it's still interesting to try and decipher what is going on and finding the meaning in it, as even the more unrealistic aspects that come with the high octane action often have a message behind it that you won't notice when you watch Fooly Cooly for the first time. Like when Naota has to face an enemy and it takes the support of those around him along with his own confidence to beat the enemy. With confidence being one of the key aspects needed in life when growing into an adult, a lot of the moments in this anime help Naota enjoy his youth, while also giving him experiences that will be key in adulthood, as the central theme for Fooly Cooly becomes clear that growing up is hard. I also really enjoyed the music in Fooly Cooly, and it has to be the biggest compliment I can give this anime. It has a stunning soundtrack from the Pillows and really does a great job enhancing every scene, especially the dramatic moments, but it also handles the emotional moments really well. This is probably one of my favorite soundtracks for an anime, for not only the personal enjoyment of all the songs that are used throughout the anime, but because it is such a unique soundtrack when compared to the landscape of all other animes. There are very few that can match up to it. In terms of the characters in the anime, while Naota and Haruko are standout characters, there are plenty of other good characters like Eri, who I think do a good job representing that Naota is not alone in the way he feels, and that there are plenty of people out there like him, which helps to reduce that sense of isolation he feels from his classmates. While I found Mamimi to be really interesting, she doesn't really change at all throughout the anime, and thanks to what happened to her in her past, she suffers from a dependency issue and keeps this same cynical view of the world, which only continues to grow the more and more as the anime goes on, as her teasing of Naota and her inability to express her feelings towards Naota about how she feels about him, whether positive or negative, leads to a rift between the two, leaving her even more alone than when the anime started. I feel like the anime didn't really dig deep enough into her character and didn't give her a good conclusion for the end of the anime. But like everything else in the anime, a lot is left up to interpretation from the audience. And with the ending of the anime replaying the same message of nothing amazing happens here, but with a much more upbeat tone, the anime feels like it leaves on a positive note. Fooly Cooly stands out even today as a refreshing anime that refuses to let itself submit to conformity. It's a bold and creative anime that confronts the viewer about the importance of life as a whole, as it sums its message up clearly that it's important to enjoy life while you can, and that no matter how hard it gets, you can always get up and try again. That our experiences throughout life teach us many valuable things and shape us into who we will become, and that growing up is hard, but that we all have people beside us that can make it a bit easier. And I reckon that if you can appreciate the more experimental and unique animes, that this is definitely one you need to check out. Thanks everyone for watching, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you all in the next one.